Hello, everybody. This is CNET live at our stage at CES 2020. It's the best of CES. This is our first one of several. And here you got the twin dueling editors at large. Bryan Cooley.
Scott Stein.
And there it is, succinct as possible. For the next 20 minutes or so, we are going to boil down for you the best products that CNET editors have seen here at the largest consumer electronics show on earth. So far, it's early. This is just day one. Don't be fooled. Yesterday was kind of a pre-day, a faux day.
Day 4 for us, or
Right.
yeah, it's one of many days.
Or at least it feels like it.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, let's get right to it. The products that we've liked so far, and these are ranked on a variety of criteria, including how really fascinating they are, how important and impactful they are, and whether they are perhaps delivery on things that were vaporware or maybe vaporware last year, and now they've actually come along. So there's a variety of criteria going on here. It's not like a ranked score or anything like that. Let's start with the wall, Scott. And I am a Pink Floyd fan, but I don't mean that wall.
No, well, we're always thinking about TVs here. CES is a land of giant televisions,
Yeah.
and we're always looking for whatever's going to be the next thing. Samsung, for a couple of years now, has been looking at these modular panels with micro LEDs that can expand. Eventually, have just build your own TV is the idea. This one at 292 inches, 8K is gigantic.
And now you're going to see David. There's David Katzmeyer for scale.
Right.
He's 6 feet tall, and he looks like a Lilliputian.
It is 24 feet, or 7.4 meters, and it is, that's insane. But it also, it seems to pass the test as far as being a really great television. It kind of shows how you could do this modularly and not sacrifice, and then who knows what sort of custom panels. I mean, there are smart home lights and other things like that you can custom do. We're not with displays yet, but maybe eventually.
This is essentially industrial display tech taken to home video quality. I mean, we got a beautiful monitor behind us here. This is industrial display tech. This has got a pixel density that is way better than this, and very affordable. 200,000, is it?
Yeah. It's just added to your,
something like that.
added to your yacht.
Yeah, good. You'll have one. I'll have. We'll see who gets theirs first.
Right. Micro LED is a technology to look for. A lot of companies are that's the hot display tech that we're looking at.
Yes.
Not just in TVs, but maybe in watches and all sorts of things. But in this, a gigantic television.
Right. This is really about what it can do at normal sizes, but to see the power of how far a display can go while still retaining really great pixel density, and then say, okay, we can do that. We can do more modest sizes really well, but this is sort of like a scale-up proof. It's almost like you're blowing up the technology to show how good it is, and now we can use that same core R&D in other displays that'll really wow you.
And then we can paper your entire house and the ceiling and the floor and your toilet.
Like the Samsung, was it the Samsung booth with the undulating?
The curved things that will probably flow in your
Or the LG booth, I forget which one that was, and they'll love to hear that. Let's move on now to something completely non-electronic, but it's tech. Food is tech now. We learned that lesson in 2019, right? And so here at CES was the debut of Impossible Pork.
Yeah, this is 2 for 2 for Impossible food debuts that have wowed editors. There was an Impossible meat that was beef. Now we're on pork. This uses less heme, but it's kind of similar in terms of the way it's constructed, I think, in terms of
very
fats,
similar. Here's where I went down to Impossible's headquarters in Silicon Valley, and we checked it out. And this is their in-house expert R&D chef, Chef Nathan Foote. He made a couple of long, narrow patties. It is a ground product. We're not at the point where they're making the whole cuts yet, which a lot of companies are working on. Obviously, a very similar structure and componentry. Listen to that, like it's a phone, but it is got componentry of soy and other products, but taken to a low heme direction, lower heme.
Yeah.
The chewiness was a more porky chewiness. Made it into a shumai, a banh mi. I gotta say, it was real good.
I'm really curious to try it.
Real good.
I'm very envious of everyone who did. And there was a katsu. I think there was a katsu there.
They didn't give me that.
Oh, well, I'm
great.
envious of the katsu.
Great. I
Sorry.
missed out on a tasting round.
It sounded really good. It convinced a number of our editors. It's also, in a weird way, it is halal and kosher. But
interesting thing, Abrar Al-Hiti did a piece about how it is halal, but it's still pork.
And
so it sets up a fascinating semantic question.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's not semantic. I'm not trying to minimize the whole issue around it, but it sets up, is it pork or is it not pork? It's not literally pork, but it's positioned as pork.
Well, I mean, there's like beef bacon, there's turkey bacon, this stuff has been out there. But it's interesting because the mission is to say, we want to convince bacon lovers to love this.
And as she, she called out in her piece after we visited there, it's like it was it was really hard for her mentally, after a lifetime of not eating pork, to suddenly eat pork. So it works on your head in a certain way.
This is being test marketed in a Impossible Croissant, right? This is
Yes.
like the continuing of the Burger King in a sausage form.
Yeah.
Next, and
5
with
states, 169 markets, all in the middle of the country. They're not cheating by going out to the coastal states and saying, well, they'll love it, we'll try it there. They go to the middle of the country and try it where real America lives, and that's where they then test it. Burger did great. We'll see if this rolls out as fast. Okay, let's go to something that I know you are going to have a lot better handle on than me, Alienware's UFO concept.
I love this, and I saw this on stage, and we actually had an exclusive debut of this yesterday, a lot of Dell's tech. I thought this was going to happen a year ago, where we had the Nintendo Switch. It made a huge splash in 2017. And then I thought, well, when's the Switchification of all of our gadgets going to come? If you remember all the way back CES a couple of years ago, or a number of years ago, Razer Edge, there was a gaming tablet that was modular before. And also NVIDIA's tablets did this to some extent. This is an Alienware. It looks like a final product, but it's a concept. Weirdly enough, that has detachable controllers like the Joy-Cons, plays PC games, not a lot of details on specs or battery life, the stuff that we'd want to know, but the design is great. I got to hold it a little bit. I just want it to come out. I think Dell's kind of waiting it out a little bit to see that, but I mean, we've been expecting this for a while. Phones are kind of getting like this. This is just, it's weirdly totally practical. It's not, to me, it's not a concept anymore. This is just, we are here, but it's great to see them diving into that too.
Yeah. And yes, there are non-gamers in the world. I'm that person. You've heard there was one. I'm them. Where does this fit in terms of the kind of gamer who's going to adopt this?
Well, I think it really helps that these things are dockable, because I think the idea now the Switch was challenging is that you play it on a TV, you can play it on the road, and I think also if you're playing the types of games, there are a ton of Steam indie games. There's a whole indie game world that is a mainstream part of gaming now, and it's hard to play those games portably. And Steam is, I think, where a lot of those games debut. Yeah. So I love it for that. I mean, I think that's going to be really great. I think for playing certain games, it may not be ideal, but you'd want to dock it then. I think it would be a heck of a lot of fun. I'm surprised it hasn't happened before.
Okay, so good flexibility across several gamer categories.
Right.
Okay, that's what I'm looking for. Let's talk about the most unusual car brand that arrived here at CES. You think you'd be surprised by an Apple car. We were really surprised by a Sony car. Didn't see that one coming.
No.
And it is not intended to be a car produced by Sony. It is intended to be a showcase of many Sony technologies, however, and that's what they're doing here. But look at this very automotive-style rollout. I didn't think I'd ever see Sony do an automotive drive-on.
It's crazy.
And I'm trying to get my head wrapped around the fact that this is a Sony design language for vehicles, because cars are a very high art form in design, as you know, and I've never seen Sony tackle anything like this.
This was designed by their robotics team? Is what I said.
Is it really?
Am I
that's
crazy
interesting.
in saying that? So,
that's interesting.
Yeah. So I'm gonna.
I didn't
make
catch
sure
that.
I'm not crazy that. Yeah.
And of course,
it was built by their AI and robotics team. So
now
the team
that's a fascinating angle.
that made iBo, and that's really interesting in a way. Like cars are kind of an offshoot of robotics and AI.
That's really interesting. Okay, interesting. It's a showcase for connected technologies, of course, electrification. But that design angle is really interesting.
It looks really nice. I want a Sony car.
It does. I tell you, to my eye, it looks better than a number of well-funded electric vehicle startups. So maybe they could take a lesson from old Sony.
It's surprisingly normal for a wild concept.
That's actually it. It's surprisingly normal.
Yeah.
That's the maturity of a great legacy electronics company, I think. Okay, so if you're just joining us, we are doing our first day one wrap-up of the best of CES. Bryan Cooley, Scott Stein, CNET editors at large, and we are here at the Sands Expo. If you don't know, we moved a few years ago. We're not at at the South Hall anymore of the main Expo Center. We're at Sands Expo. They call it Tech West during CES, and we are right here on the
right in the middle of
top of the escalators. If you're coming to the show, and maybe you're watching us on a stream right now, come on. No seats available now, but that's okay. People come and go.
You can wander to the canals right over there.
You're right. Yeah. You can always do that and jump in if it's all too much. Mercedes had a car as well. Now, you expect them to have a car. That's what they do for a living. This was an Avatar car. Yes, designed with Jimmy Cameron.
Yeah, this is the opposite of the Sony car. This is the one where you go, oh, wow, Mercedes has a breathing scale gill car.
They're the gills.
Bio car that is tied to Avatar. It's
Yeah, I mean, part of it is meant to be
wonderful and insane.
It's an inside-out car in a sense. It's highly transparent. A lot of what you see on the outside is the structure, and it's meant to be so connected to you, and this is a phrase that they've used with performance cars before, you almost wear it as much as you drive it. But in this day and age, that means a lot more because of the electronic connections, the biometrics it can integrate. It's way out there.
It has scales on the back.
Yep,
It has
breathing gills like.
It has no tail that Tendril interfaces with you.
Oh, the dorsal tail wasn't there, yeah.
Yeah, none of that. The Avatar movies did not have Mercedes cars. So it's not. That
Next
is not
one will.
Part of the. Yeah, will it? Exactly.
Oh, next one
You
will.
drive up in the Mercedes car. Talk Talk on the Samsung phone. There are 4 Avatar movies coming out. So I'm like, why, James Cameron? Why are you making this car? Get to work.
Yeah.
Just get to work and make these things.
Some movie studio got envious of all the vehicle brand tie-ins of the James Bond series and said, "All right, we got to get on this."
Yeah.
High volume or high quality, high pursuit, high brand cars. Make our movie look good.
I like this more than the Panasonic Stormtroopers, as far as Disney World tie-ins.
Yeah, let me think. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's go to PS5, PlayStation 5 logo.
Logo debut.
Logo debut.
And it looks like, much like what you'd expect a PS5 logo to look like.
Oh, it's PS5.
PS5, PSS, okay. PS5.
Okay, we good?
Whatever you want it to be.
We're done. Okay.
We're done. Coming in the holidays, as you would expect.
I missed this unveil. I had to leave you and go off to some other
Everyone
engagements.
was very excited
This was literally what it was, a PS5 logo unveil.
Yeah.
And that was it.
And that's it. And we already knew a lot about the PS5. What I really care about with the PS5, because I'm a VR geek, is more about the PSVR. But that's not supposed to come out alongside the PS5. There may be a version later. So, like, sure, PS5.
Well, they got to roll out the logo for PSVR first, and then at another conference,
I hope
bring
it's
out the
as
hardware.
good as this one.
Yeah,
because it's got a lot to live up to.
Man,
now.
that's innovative.
Yeah.
Good grief! It's called that's called a font, guys.
The
That's all that
tradition
is.
continues.
All right, let's take a quick break here. Bryan Cooley and Scott Stein. We've got a few more things to talk about, including one that's created a lot of buzz here at the show the last 24 hours or so. Stick around. More Best of CES Day 1 from CNET in just a moment. Welcome back. It's the Best of CES show, Day 1. This is the first official day here at CES 2020. Bryan Cooley, editor-at-large at CNET, joined by my twin, which is going to become a very relevant concept here in a minute, our other editor-at-large, newly minted, by the way, Mr. Scott Stein. Hello. And joining us now, on the far right as you watch, is Andrew Gephardt, who is here to explain neon, because someone has to be able to.
Yeah, kinda.
Tell us.
So neon is a lifelike avatar. It is creating a ton of buzz. I've seen it in action. I've spent a lot of time looking at all the ins and outs, and Still not 100% sure I know what it is, but the beautiful thing about it is...
Okay, we're seeing it here. What are we seeing on the stream right now?
So that's neon.
That's neon. That's a digital.
Neon,
That's an
Digital,
avatar.
not physical.
so it's digital, it's on a screen, it's meant to look like a person and replicate a person.
Right.
So it's created by Star Labs, which is a subsidiary of Samsung that sounds like a villain from a
So it's
sci-fi
not
movie.
literally a Samsung
Just a bit,
technology,
yeah.
but basically it is.
But basically a Samsung technology.
Okay.
Though, so one of the things that they were clear about is what it's not. And it's not a replacement for Bixby or any of these other digital assistants. But it looks very lifelike, and it's really cool to behold. And that's the whole idea, is to try to create lifelike and very human interactions. So it's creating a ton of buzz.
Yeah.
But I got to see it in action and talk with it. So you saw those earlier animations, which are really smooth and good looking.
Yeah.
And then I got to see it in action, and it's super robotic. It just sort of like stands there. It's really rigid.
Are there weird pauses?
And there were very long, weird pauses, and I was very much stuck in an uncanny valley sort of situation. And
Did it judder or like max headroom at all, or was it more of a
no,
pause thing?
so it's relatively stationary, and it answered the questions kinda. So, but even that, I was a little surprised because they did a demo a couple of different times.
Yeah.
It was always the exact same questions. It was always the exact same answers. But it did, when I got up there and asked different questions, it did respond. So it's this ambitious thing, and it's cool, and it's designed to be very human-like, but in practice, they still got a little bit to go.
I have a lot of questions, but one in particular. Are the faces randomly generated or deepfaked, or are these from actual people that were scanned?
So it started with an actual person.
Okay.
So when they were first creating it, they were like, here, sit down here. Okay, we're going to create a model using our program. And then eventually it's gone from, I believe, they're using humans as a basis, but they're not based on humans. See, this is why everyone's super confused about
So they
Neo.
create an identity that's a kind of an amalgamation that's not the person. It could be
Right,
a
it's
fusion.
not designed to replicate people. Again, we got a lot
It's
of
its
nuts.
own creation, right?
Right. Not designed to replicate people. It's
Right.
designed to be its own thing. To what end? But so we don't know
own
what it's trying
facial
to do. But
identity.
eventually,
Yeah.
so they're rolling it out because they're excited about it. It needs a lot more polish, but I kind of admire. The demo was
It's a core technology for
Yeah.
sure. But as I'm looking at these, I'm reminded of what the Dutch masters learned centuries ago. Eyes are hard.
eyes are really hard.
Eyes
And
are super hard.
Yeah.
So again, this is obviously like pre-animated, and this was what people were seeing that got everybody super excited. Look at how human that looks. That's
these are
awesome.
great. But
Yeah,
the moment
these-
we get to the woman who's in a lot of those, she's giving me that dead shark eye look.
Right. And I was
Ugh.
talking to that woman, and then I had to give my question to the translator, who then said it to the woman. It was the exact same question, but like he
Yeah.
had a mic that was built in.
I feel like the moment where like the difference between like watching a video, interacting, or feel like I'm in a really fancy version of Dragon's Lair, where it's like, is it just playing something back?
I thought it was Skyrim. You know the dead eyes you get when you're playing like a video game like Elder Scrolls Skyrim?
Yeah.
That's what I thought was
No, is that
happening.
because is it doing eye tracking and trying to line it up, or is it just that it wasn't fully?
I think
doing
it's
that, yet?
that it's not fully there yet. So
Okay.
it's not. They're not even calling it beta. So I'm skeptical
Okay.
that it's going to be the thing we have hyped so much. But
Right.
they give them a little room, give them a little flexibility to develop this with time. Sure, they're excited about it.
It's super interesting to me because there are other players in this landscape already, whether they're avatars or recreations of people or whatever. Facebook Reality Labs, Facebook and Oculus have been trying to make progress presenting also incredibly realistic avatars. Magic Leap has shown Micah, this virtual human, which again they said was not an assistant. And we're very adamant on that. I tried that out at one point. Eye contact was really good with those, but it was a very short demo.
Yeah,
And
eye contact wasn't here with this one.
There's also this place called the AI Foundation, like where that's scanning real people and making them avatars. Where back in December I talked to virtual Deepak Chopra, and it was a little uncanny Chopra, but he was trying to get me to meditate, and then so it's interesting because I think about those and VR and AR. It just sounds like they're dabbling in, but I'm so curious where they're going.
Well, and that give and take of questions. Like, again, it's saying it's not going to be a digital assistant, like Amazon's assistant, like Google Assistant. But in terms of, like, me asking a question and getting a response, currently Amazon stuff and Google stuff is way, way beyond.
Yeah, I
what
mean, they
just
could
saw.
easily plug in a more mature question and answer smart assistant. That's a trivial plug-in. That's not
Sure.
really what's going on here. This is a visual comportment is what it looks like to me, to make me really forget the technology is there. An utterly transparent avatar that I just don't think of after a moment is at all pixels. And what I'm intrigued by this, where my mind goes, is customer service, therapeutic, psychotherapy, because there are always chemical things between people, and I mean chemical in the invisible sense. We have conversations. We always want to fill gaps for each other. We have all kinds of eye lock and avoidance that we do.
Right.
This doesn't suffer from that. It could find new avenues of conversation that humans can't do very regularly.
So they mentioned yoga instructor, concierge as like
Yeah.
possible avenues that it could be. And again, this was before beta. They had like sort of the basic software in place, but they were acknowledging that some of the learning, some of the real-time responsiveness comes next.
Okay, all right, very good. Andrew, thank you for making it
thanks.
pretty clear. I feel good about a neon now. You get it?
This is
okay?
gonna show
you
up
don't
at
need
the
to buy
Cosmo
it, but do you
Hotel
get
when I
it?
check in
right?
next
Okay,
year.
Andrew's
Yeah.
got us a good download there. Right on. Thank you,
Yeah.
Andrew. Okay, well, that's it for myself. Andrew Gephardt, Scott Stein, thanks for watching CNET. We are early in CES. This is only day one. A lot more to come, of course. Some highlights for tomorrow you'll be seeing. Just when you thought every torture test in the world had been done, we have a new one, and it involves the Las Vegas Golden Knights hockey team. Enough said. Plus, I'll have a plant-based food taste test tomorrow that you have not heard of. These are coming out of different directions. And, of course, lots of new products. It's all tech all day tomorrow, so join us 9 a.m. Pacific, live and right here at the CNET stage in Las Vegas. Thanks, everybody.